The question that our dear brother Patrick poses is that, he wanted to know. All right, so one of the things I talked about in this response was the endocrine system and how the hormones are very, very powerful interdimensional substances, and that, our endocrine system are stargates. Okay, so he goes on to ask, he's like, do men have this endocrine portal with connections to the divine as well? So now, this seems like a totally normal question, and for many of us it is. But for those that are struggling with splitting the hairs of different woke narratives, might not know how to take that kind of question, and then also how to answer it. So I'm going to be a little bit in your face on a few things because I don't play those games. That's not something that I'm interested in, and I respect and love all humans. All humans have a right to be the way they are, but I do not prescribe to the kind of manipulative games that are being played with manipulating narratives. For example, the clumping together the LGBTQ plus narrative with the Black Lives Movement. Now, politically, and the narrative throughout the media was, they all go hand in hand because they're both marginalized populations. But you guys have to know the different communities of color, you can call it, that I've heard from. They're really offended by that because, you guys don't realize this, but, to be gay in the African American community is not the same as if you're in a more Anglo white kind of community. It's like, it's held much more on the down low, unless you're overtly outward with your expression of it. And then of course, that's a whole different thing. And then, all the power to you. You have the courage to be who you are against the grain and, do it. Great. Yay. But there was a lot of conservative, let's say, comments being made that, this truly was not honoring the Black voice. Okay. And then I go on to hear from other categories within the LG community. And I'm just going to truncate it as that because gay and lesbian folks that are really offended that the trans movement got clumped in with their cause. Okay. So as a collective, this is a narrative being pushed and driven by clearly an agenda. But when you talk to individuals within these supposed stereotypes, you realize that, oh, no, the details of this are actually very individual. You can't clump them all together like that and not be alienating people. So I just want to say that out loud so you guys have that and understand that, I think everybody has the right to be whoever they are and however they're going to be. And I think it's great. But at the same time, the narrative is being manipulated, like, to create division. They want to create division because as long as we're distracted with our energy against each other, then we're not going to spend as much time focusing on what we have in common and what would serve us all. Okay, so keep that in mind when I move forward in my response to dear brother Starshine's question. So what I'm going to say, because of the context of that reel was in explaining how women have a sacred stargate within their womb space, even after they're no longer in childbearing years, that stargate, the energy of that gets redirected to the consciousness of the woman. Because it's a womb space, because it's a stargate that pulls forward souls. Okay, this is not something men have access to. They don't have that. They're not born with it. It's not in their physiology. Okay. Okay. So, but that's not to say that men are not connected to source. They are. We all are. All life is. Everything around us is. Every tree, every bird has the spark of divinity within it. So this is not something that I'm trying to stir up political trouble with. It's just that there are genders that are a part of the expression of life. And, indigenous circles acknowledge more than two genders. I think it's five altogether, but that doesn't matter. We do, we as a society have an obligation to give everybody a place within our society, give everybody a place. So if giving someone a place means diminishing another, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna bring harmony. That's gonna create division. So we want to give everybody a place, and this is what the Pachamama does. This is what the great source spirit does. Everything has its place, just like in nature. Everything has its place. Everything has a role in nature that contributes to the larger biosphere of life. Okay, so when I say everybody needs to have their place, that's what I mean. So if there is a placement within society that diminishes another, that is, on purpose or whatever, that's not something that is in natural order. Natural order means everybody has a place, and everybody has a place that's meaningful and contributes to the whole in a way that matters. Okay, so we need to remember that when we start going into questions like this, because we're going into this reality, we're going into this with this idea that one sex has something that the other sex does not. Okay, and that is a fact of life. That is not an opinion. That's just what it is. Okay, women have stargates in their womb space that literally pull souls from the other realms, from anywhere in the galaxy, if they're conscious enough, and gives them a biosuit. It births them into this reality. The only way a life force, a soul, can come into this reality is through a womb space. That's just the way it is. That's just the way nature has brought it forward. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean that there's a superiority thing going on. It's more of if we are all here honoring life, if we are all here contributing in the way that is in our true nature, everything, all life is to be revered and respected. So when I talk about men not having the same capabilities of women, that's not to disrespect men. I love men. I think men are amazing. I love the presence of men, especially in the creative space, So this is not an either or thing. This is a together. This is how miraculous life is. I hope this makes sense the way I'm saying it. All right. So men serve a very important function in relationship to women. Okay. And I'm just going to keep it in that frame up. Of course, you have men romantic relationships and female only romantic relationships, of course. But when it comes to men and women, there's a special kind of chemistry that happens where the woman really benefits from the presence of the man, and the man really benefits from the presence of the woman. And this is not just a biological thing. There's a spiritual thing involved in this too. So women have cycles. We have cycles, right? We ovulate, we menstruate, and then we have also the cycles of life. We conceive, we gestate, give birth. So we have these massive cycles, really profound cycles that change our body, change our emotions, change how we feel about things. And it's very up and down. Now, when we're in close connection with a male presence, the male presence doesn't have that kind of fluctuation going on hormonally, emotionally, mentally. They have a different system happening inside themselves, so they can be a very stable, consistent. Key is consistent presence for the feminine while she's going through her hormonal changes. Because remember, as I said in the beginning, hormones are profound interdimensional substances. They are not just, they're You're not just hormonal. There are interdimensional um, interplay at work when our hormones are changing. So in this way, men, that dynamic between male female is synergistic. The male can be a very consistent, stable energy for the feminine as they go through these different waves, and then the female, because we're wired the way we are and we have that womb space with the stargate within it, the male can benefit from, let's say, the way we go into the mysteries, the way we dip in and out. I mean, we can quite literally bring life into this earth from our bodies. There's a mystical quality within that, and that is something that men can also benefit from, that being present with that. And plus, parenthood is an amazing thing. Not that everybody should be parents, I'm not saying that. Just like not everybody should have a dog or a cat. But parenthood really can bring out the best in humans. Not every human, like I said, but there's certain people that really discover themselves and their miraculous and their not just miraculousness, but they really discover their strength, their qualities as a good human being through parenthood. And I noticed that fatherhood really does that for a lot of men, that it really inspires them to bring out higher levels of their character, higher levels of what's possible for them. Okay. And of course, it does this for moms too. But there is a big sickness sweeping through humanity. And that's why I say not everybody should be parents, because some people just aren't, they're going to use their children. They're not going to rear their children, so that is a sickness that's happened. And I think that's how all these manipulative narratives get ground is through wounded children that come from, have broken connections with their parents and their loved ones, their family units. So so this is the response I have for our dear brother Patrick, even though that question could have gotten me in hot water. And if it does, you guys got to say something. Let me know. I mean, maybe I'm just completely living under a rock and I'm off about all this.